Hi, guys. Happy Friday. For anybody who may be rolling in who doesn't know me, I'm Rachel. I'm a physical therapist locally here in Palo Alto. This is Pilates Matwork. We're just going to need our mats, potentially a little towel roll to give you a little more padding for your knees on the mat. And then if you'd like to grab a small hand towel or a little stretching strap, something you have without any give to it, just a piece of fabric or something you can hold on to at each end, go ahead and grab that now. It's not absolutely necessary, but I will give you a couple of stretching options to use in the beginning of class and potentially partway through as well. So if you want to go ahead and grab that, what we'll do is grab the device if you'd like it, and we're going to start with our feet. We'll start standing today. We're going to get our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders, and let's turn our toes just a little bit out to the sides, just enough that those knees stay nice and comfortable. We're going to soften up our knees, let our weight sink down through those feet. We're going to press the big toe and that pinky toe into the floor. Let's just stand here nice and still. Hold that strap or towel if you have it in one of your hands, and we're going to take a big breath in through the nose and a big breath out through the mouth. One more time. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and a big breath out through the mouth. If you have that towel, we're going to grab onto each of the ends of it, palms facing you. We're going to pull the slack out of that towel. So you might get a little bit of a stretch and a little bit of muscle activation behind the backs of those shoulders. Otherwise, the hands are going to be right by your side if you don't hold onto a towel or a strap. We're going to keep that slack out of whatever you're holding, and we're going to take those arms up and overhead. Keep those elbows as straight as you comfortably can get them. And we're going to line up those arms overhead so they line up as closely as they can to in line with your trunk. Hold it here. Again, keeping the slack out of that stretching strap or towel, or keeping those elbows straight. We're going to take a tall side bend. Reach toward one of those top corners of your room. Inhale up to the ceiling, and let's exhale over to the other side. Inhale up, exhale, and side bend. One more time. Inhale up, exhale, let's side bend to the other corner. Let's bring those arms straight up to the ceiling, and let's roll our shoulders back and down, keeping those arms up and overhead. Twice more, roll them back in nice big circles. As we drop those shoulder blades to the floor, we're going to take our arms forward, keep a hold of that band as we bring the arms down by our sides. And let's hang on to that towel now behind the back. We're going to flip our palms so they face forward toward our screen. Again, if we're not holding onto a towel, those arms are going to stay slightly behind the trunk with those palms still facing forward. We're going to pull out gently on that towel or strap if you're holding it, again, taking the slack out of it. We're going to draw the belly gently toward the spine, and we're going to squeeze our blades together behind the back again. Let's see if we can take our hands and or that strap slightly back away from the body. So the trunk is nice and upright. Those arms are extending toward the wall behind us. And we're going to hold them here, gently lifting the back of the hands toward the ceiling. We'll hold here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Feel those chests open up. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Take a big breath in here. As we exhale, we'll bring those hands down by the sides. If you've held onto that strap, we can let it go. We can place it down by the side of our mat. We may use it again later. And we're going to bring ourselves toward one of the back edges of our mat. We're facing lengthwise on it, looking sideways to see our screen. Let's soften up our knees a bit. We're going to take our hands right to the fold in the hips, and let's tip the trunk forward, keeping that body in the same angle. So same curve in the back, same curve through the neck as it was when we are upright. We're going to pause at that first barrier to stretch that we get from those glutes down toward those knees. Maybe we feel a stretch. Maybe we just feel like we can't take it any further without the back moving. Let's hold it here. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to draw the belly toward the spine, take our hands down toward the floor, and let's bring our hands down toward that mat, bending the knees slightly. We're going to make our way down to hands and knees. Hold it here, and let's do a few cats and cows, curling that belly up toward the ceiling, and then reversing that curve down toward the floor. Curl it up, look toward those sides, reverse that curve looking forward. One more time here, curl it up, and reverse that curve. We'll take it right back to neutral. Let's wag our tail side to side, taking a hip toward the shoulder, the other hip toward the other shoulder. Top half of the body stays nice and still. Bottom half of the body waggles side to side for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come right back to the middle. We're going to bring our forearms down to the floor. Take those legs back behind the body so we're resting on our upper thighs. With those upper arms vertical and those forearms pressed directly down to the mat, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together and press our shoulder blades toward the floor. Squeeze the blades together, press them toward the floor. Squeeze and press One last time, squeeze them together. Press those blades toward the floor. Those shoulder blades should be nice and warmed up now as we take a big breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to make our way all the way down to the mat. Turn onto our backs and let's bend up our knees, lining those heels up with our sit bones. Knees, feet, and hips are about shoulder width apart. A little wider. Feet are going to be a little wider than our hips here, and we're going to take our hands down to our mat. Let's draw that belly down toward the spine and take our arms up to the ceiling. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to gently lower our chin down toward the neck, take that breastbone down to the floor, and draw that belly down toward the floor as well. Let's reach our shoulder blades up to the ceiling, wrapping them around the front of the body, and now we'll drop those blades down to the floor, keeping those elbows straight. Reach the blades to the ceiling, lower them to the floor. Reach them up, lower them to the floor. One last time, reach them to the ceiling, lower them to the floor. Let's take a big breath in, taking those arms back overhead toward the wall behind us. Pause when we can't go any further without letting those elbows bend. You might get a nice stretch through those underarm muscles. Again, we're going to drop that breastbone down to the floor, which might pop the hands up a little higher. And we're going to breathe into this position, letting those ribs open up toward the floor. Big breath in. Exhale. Reach those fingertips back behind the body. One more time. Big breath in. Exhale. Reach those fingertips back as far away from your feet as we can get them. We're going to draw that belly down a little closer to the spine as we arc our arms back to the ceiling. Let's bring one knee up to 90 degrees with that shin parallel to the floor. We're going to bring our other knee up to meet it in tabletop. Those thighs are vertically aligned. If there is strain on your back here, feel free to bring those knees a little closer to your shoulders, which will help you flatten your back out just a bit. Keeping the belly to the spine, we're now going to place our hands right on the front of our thighs and build a little bit of pressure. Press the thighs and the hands toward each other until you feel some muscles working from that breastbone all the way down towards your pubic bone. We're going to drop those shoulder blades toward your hips, and let's straighten and bend our knees. Wiggle through, just like we did in standing. We're going to try to find that first barrier to stretch through the back of the thighs. Straighten and bend those knees, maintaining the pressure through the hands. Here's 4. Here's 3. Straighten for 2, and back to tabletop. Straighten for 1. Let's take them back to tabletop. We can take our hands and arc them down toward the floor, hovering those fingertips a few inches up off the mat now. Keeping that belly drawn down, assess your situation here. If you can keep that belly drawn toward the spine, we could straighten those knees up toward the ceilings and make it a little more challenging on that core. If you need a half step back, we can take a foot down to the mat for a little kickstand. Regardless of your position, we're going to pat our hands up and down for our 100 breaths. Inhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that pattern going. If you'd like to nod your chin and lift the head a bit, looking toward the knees, you're welcome to do so. As we keep those arms moving, we're going to work on keeping our elbows straight and reaching our fingertips toward that wall in front of us. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Keep that pattern going. We could flip our palms up now and press the air to the ceiling. Feel the difference as those chest muscles open up. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, bending those knees back to tabletop. One last time here. Breathe it in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let's pause where we are. Knees are going to be up in tabletop. We can bring that upper body down if it's been lifted. And we're going to keep our hands hovered up slightly off the floor. Let's take those arms out on a T. Elbows, shoulders, and wrists are lined up with each other. Big breath in here. Drop the mid back as you exhale and see if you can gently lower your hands a little closer to the floor. Backs of the hands are going to come down toward that mat. You should feel your abdominals working. You should feel a chest stretch. So if you feel a lot of tingling in your fingertips, let's bring those hands up a little higher. If you feel a nice stretch in those shoulders in the front, you're welcome to take your shoulder blades and anchor them down into the floor. We're going to hold it here for a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to bring one foot to the mat, take the other foot to the mat, and now we're going to move to our pelvic clock positions. We're going to picture a clock face on the pelvis and abdomen, 12 o'clock by that breastbone, 6 o'clock by that pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side. Keeping those arms out to the side as best we can. You could bring them down a little further if you do need to take some pressure off those shoulder and chest muscles. We're going to rock that pelvic area toward 12 o'clock. Take that pubic bone up toward the breastbone, shortening through the front, lengthening through the back. We'll drop towards 6 o'clock, lengthening the pubic bone down toward the floor in front of us. Curl it to 12, reverse that curl to 6. Curl it to 12, reverse it to 6. Let's take ourselves right back to neutral, and then let's take that pelvis from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. The hip closest to the screen is going to rock toward the screen as the opposite hip comes toward the ceiling, and we're going to reverse it to 9 o'clock. Hip that's toward the screen is going to go up into the air as the opposite hip comes toward the floor. Rock it to 3, reverse it to 9, rock it to 3, reverse it to 9. Let's come right back to the middle, big breath in. As we exhale, those arms are going to come down by the floor in front of us. We're going to bring the knee farthest from the screen up into tabletop. And let's grab onto that knee and gently draw it into our chest. Hold it here. We're going to slide that opposite leg straight out along the floor, dropping the back of that knee to the mat until you feel a little bit of a stretch through the front of that hip flexor. You should feel that thigh opening up a bit. Hold it there. Let's roll our shoulders back and down, nod the chin, and then maybe we nod that chin and lift the head up slightly up off the mat. It's up to you if you want to do the head lift and if you want to curl that upper back a bit. We're going to float that straight leg up off the floor and draw some circles on the wall in front of us with it. Little tiny circles moving out of that hip joint with the rest of the body, staying nice and still. Let's circle it the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stretch that leg forward. We're going to pull it into the chest, press that opposite leg straight in front of us, lower that straight leg down to the mat, pressing the back of the knee into the floor, and let's bring that upper body down if it's been lifted as we pull that opposite knee into the chest, just enough that we feel a little bit of a stretch and an opening through that opposite hip flexor. Taking that belly down a little closer to the spine, we can reset that chin down toward the neck. We can curl up if we'd like. We'll unweight that straight leg from the mat, and let's make some circles with it on that wall in front of us. Drive from that hip joint. Here's 3. Circle for 2. Circle for 1. Breathe it in. On that exhale, we'll circle the other way. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's stretch that leg forward. We're going to bring the upper body down, draw that belly toward the spine, and let's switch our legs, keeping that upper body and trunk nice and still. Pull the knee in, press the other one forward. Pull and press. Keep that pattern going. Again, keeping that trunk nice and still as we alternate our legs. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. We're going to keep that knee closest to the screen, drawn into the chest. Opposite leg's going to press all the way down to the floor. Let's take our hands down by our sides and bring that lifted knee up to tabletop, 90 degrees at the knee, 90 degrees at the hip. As we press our hands into the floor, we're going to keep that thigh right where it is. Let's straighten and bend that knee. Keep the thigh angle nice and still. We're working an active stretch for the back of the leg by tightening up the front of the thigh. Let's pause with that leg as straight as we can get it. We're going to draw the belly down, anchor the bones in the back of the pelvis down into the mat, and let's take that lifted leg side to side. We'll move it toward our screen. We'll move it away from the screen. Draw a horizontal line on the ceiling. We could take it a step further by unweighting that supporting leg. We can keep that supporting leg up off the mat if you'd like. We can lower it to the floor if you need to. Let's move that lifted leg in circles. Draw some circles on the ceiling. Pause at the top, breathe it in. As we breathe out, we'll circle the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hang on behind that thigh. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, we'll bring that other leg up to meet it. Let's bend that knee to tabletop as we extend the opposite leg down to the mat. With our hands down to the floor, keeping that other thigh up nice and vertical, we're going to straighten and bend that knee, giving that other leg an active stretch to the hamstring. Straighten and bend. Straighten and hold. Again, we draw the belly down, anchor that pelvis into the mat, and let's take that lifted leg side to side. Draw that horizontal line on the ceiling. Again, we could progress this a bit by lifting our supporting leg up off the mat. We can hold it there if you'd like as we circle that lifted leg. Draw those circles on the ceiling, keeping the rest of the body nice and still. Pause that leg at the top, take a breath in. Exhaling, we'll circle the other way for 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold on behind that thigh. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down, keep the belly drawn down, hover that supporting leg up off the mat if it's not already there. We'll nod the chin, and maybe we lift the head and curl that upper body up. That's up to you. Hold it here. Let's switch our legs. Other leg pulls up, switch that grip, float the opposite leg toward the floor. Alternate through, pulling that knee toward your face to get yourself a little more stretch through the back of that lifted leg. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring our knees up to the ceiling. We'll bend them back to tabletop, keeping our hands behind our thigh. Let's bring that upper body down. If it's been lifted, we'll pull those knees just a touch closer to our shoulders. And we're going to flatten that low back by pulling that pelvis toward our 12 o'clock position just slightly. Let's take our hands down by our sides. We'll wiggle them slightly away from the body, maybe out about a 45-degree angle away. Press those shoulder blades into the floor and leave them there. And we're going to rock both knees toward our screen, keeping those shoulders on the floor. We'll press into the floor with our hands and rock those knees away from the screen. Rock them toward, rock them away. If you'd like to make this more challenging, we can straighten those legs out, reaching those toes toward the ceiling. There's a 90-degree angle at the hips as we take those legs side to side for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's pull them back to the center. We're going to move both legs together in clockwise circles. Draw those circles on the ceiling, keeping those shoulder blades pressed into the floor. Here's 2. Here's 1. Pause them at the top, breathe it in. On that exhale, we'll circle in the opposite direction. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pause them at the top. We're going to take those feet away from each other. Open them out to the side, making a V with those legs. Breathing in, we'll bring our heels toward each other again. Open to the V, take them back to the ceiling. Last 2. Last 1. Take them up to the ceiling. Hold them here. We're going to circle the legs in opposite directions of each other. Keep that pelvis nice and still. If you'd like to keep your hands on those hips to ensure that that's where your movement's coming from, you're welcome to do so. Let's circle them the other way. Here's 4. Last 3. Last 2. Keep that belly drawn down. Last 1. We're going to move those knees to tabletop. Let's pull them into the chest, give them a nice hug, and rock that body side to side. Let the floor massage out your low back a little bit. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Let's bring ourselves right back to that center. We'll hold on to our kneecaps and bring those legs back up to tabletop. Draw the belly down. Let's take our arms to the ceiling. We're going to take that arm closest to the screen back overhead and stretch our opposite leg out in front. Let's bring everything back to that starting tabletop position. Switch it up to the other side. Inhale to the top. Exhale and reach. Inhale to the top. Exhale and reach. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's take those arms and legs back up to tabletop in the ceiling. Flex those feet, point the toes. Flex and point a little bit. Wiggle out those ankles. We're going to flex the feet, pulling the toes toward our knees. And with that belly drawn down, we're going to lower the heel closest to the screen down to the mat. Inhale at tabletop. Opposite heel lowers. Inhale to tabletop. Both heels lower. Inhale and back up. Let's repeat that sequence. Lower 1 and lift. Lower the second and lift. Lower both. Lift them up. We're going to keep repeating that. If you want to make this more challenging, those arms can come back toward where the wall and the ceiling meet overhead. One heel comes down, lift it up. Opposite heel down, keep that mid back to the floor, lift the heel up. Both heels come down, both knees come to tabletop. Let's repeat that one more time through. Lower and lift, lower and lift. Both heels come down, both heels come up. Let's take our hands to our knees. We're going to relax our ankles, draw those knees into the chest, and rock that body side to side. Coming right back to the middle, we'll roll those shoulders back and down. Let's take both heels down to the floor. This time we're going to line our heels up with our sit bones. Knees, feet, and hips are equal distance away from each other, and we'll take our hands down by our sides. Let's press those forearms, those shoulder blades, and that mid back into the floor. Tighten the belly back toward the spine. We'll press through our heels and lift that bottom up to bridge. We're lifting those hips up from the floor to the point where the shoulders, the hips, And those knees are in a nice diagonal line with the knees lifted higher. Big breath in at the top, exhale, bridge it down. We're going to take it up and down at your own pace, lifting and lowering. The goal here is really to make those heels the driving force. The more the heels versus the toes compress into the floor, the more you'll feel those glutes working, the less likely those hamstrings are to cramp up on you. Let's hold that next bridge up at the top, press those shoulder blades into the mat, and we're going to rise up onto our toes, lift those heels. Keep those big toes pressed into the floor. We'll lower our heels down. Lift the heels and lower. Lift and lower. Here's 4. Here's 3. Keep that belly drawn in. Here's 2. Here's 1. We're going to stay up on our toes this time. Keep those hips lifted. That hip closest to the screen is going to come ever so slightly down toward the mat while the opposite hip stays lifted. Feel that glute working. Breathe it into the top. Switch it up as you exhale. Inhale to the level position. Exhale and lower 1. Lift and lower. Keep moving through at your own pace. Keep your weight pressed into the balls of the feet. If for some reason that doesn't feel good on your toes, feel free to bring those heels down. We'll take that pelvis side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take it right back to the middle. Big breath in. Lower the heels on the exhale, and let's control that body back down to the mat. Once that tailbone reaches the floor, we'll release those glutes, and let's rock those knees side to side as we take a couple of breaths in and out. Keep those shoulders on the floor. One more breath in. Exhale. Take those knees right back up toward the ceiling. Let's drive through those heels, lifting back up into bridge. This time, keeping the feet flat on the floor. We're going to press our big toes down and keep them there. Let's take both knees out away from the center. Bring them apart. Bring them back to the center. Bring the knees apart. Bring them back to the center. Out to the side. Bring them to the center. One more time, out to the side. Bring them to the center. We're going to alternate knees this time. Knee closest to the screen is going to come out to the side. Back in line with the other. Opposite knee comes out. Back in line. Alternate through for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Keep those hips lifted. Both knees are going to rock toward the screen. Rock away from the screen. Toward the screen. And away. Almost done here. Rock them toward the screen. Rock them away. Last time. Rock them toward the screen. Rock them away. We'll bring them back to the center. Big breath in. Keep those knees reaching toward the wall in front of you as we control that bridge down to the mat. Release the glutes at the bottom. We'll rock those knees side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring them back to the middle. Reset that navel to the spine. Drive the heels down. We'll lift up into one final bridge set with marching as we go. Let's bring that knee closest to the screen up to the ceiling. We're going to press our elbows into the floor for a little increased stability. Bring that leg down, switch it up. Keep those elbows pressed to the floor as we alternate through. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's press those heels down. Big breath in. Exhale, bridge it back down. Once that tailbone comes to the mat, release those glutes, shake them out a little bit. We're going to cross that leg closest to the screen over the other. Place your heel on top of that opposite knee. We can draw that knee closest to the screen out to the side a bit. Feel those rotator muscles opening up. If you want to add to this, we can rock the body away from the screen, and or we can pull that knee up into the chest for a little lifted figure 4. You should feel a nice gentle stretch on the outside of that hip on the crossed over leg. Take a big breath in. Take it back to the center. We'll bring our feet down. Switch it up, opposite heel to the knee. Draw that knee out to the side, away from the screen. We can rock those knees toward the screen and or lift up into that figure 4 position. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's take it right back to the center. We're going to unwind, pull those knees in, and rock the legs side to side. Take it right back to the middle. Our feet are going to come down to the mat. Grab that towel or that strap if you still have it near you. Again, if you don't, no worries. We're going to bring our arms straight up to the ceiling. turn those palms in toward each other. If you're holding onto the towel or strap, you're gonna turn the tails of the device down towards your legs. The palms still face each other. We're gonna take the slack out of that system. You might feel a little work through the outer shoulders. We're gonna hold them here. Drop your mid back to the floor, and let's take those legs and straighten them out along the mat. Keeping a bit of tension in that device, in that strap or towel, let's take our arms back overhead toward the wall behind us. Elbows stay nice and straight. Keep a little tension in that strap, and we'll bring our arms back to the ceiling. If you are not holding anything, those hands are staying facing each other, and we're dropping our shoulders toward our hips as we take those arms back and forth. Let's take them overhead one more time. We're gonna hold them there. We're gonna keep the slack out of that strap, or we're just gonna keep those palms facing each other. Keep that belly drawn down and that mid back pressed into the floor. We're gonna lift one leg up and down, and we'll lift the other leg up and down. Let's keep walking it through. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower that foot to the floor. We'll take a big breath in, reaching those arms back toward the wall behind us as best we can. Inhale, exhale. Bring those arms to the ceiling. If you have that strap, we can let go of it now. Let's bend up our knees. We're gonna turn it over to hands and knees. Let's line up on all fours. We're gonna get the shoulders and wrists, knees and hips lined up with each other. And the goal here really is to keep the middle back, the back of the head, and that sacrum lined up. So you have the same curves in the back of your neck and your low back that you would if you were standing. We're gonna hold this position here. Pretend you're balancing something in the small of your back. Keep that back nice and still so that object would not move. We're gonna squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them toward the floor. Squeeze them together, press them to the floor. Squeeze and press. Keep that going. If you want to make this more challenging, turn your toes under, press the toes into the floor, and we can lift our knees up off the floor, holding it in a bit of a crouch for 4. It's okay if the knees are down. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's take those knees down if they've been lifted. Turn the tops of the feet down toward the floor. And we're going to take one hand up to our thigh, square off those shoulders to the floor, and let's squeeze our blades, press the blade forward. Squeeze the blade, press it toward the floor. One more time here. And press, switch those hands. Other hand comes down, hand we just worked, it's gonna come right to our thigh, square off those shoulders with the floor, and let's squeeze and press those shoulder blades for 3. Squeeze and press for 2. Squeeze and press for 1. Let's take that second hand down. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna draw the belly toward the spine, leave it there. You also wanna get the sensation that the spine and belly are drawing toward each other. So we're using those deep muscles in the low back as well to support that spine, almost like a corset. We're gonna extend the leg closest to the screen, back behind the body. Lift that foot up just an inch or 2 up off the floor. Keeping the trunk nice and still and the pelvis still, we're gonna take that straight leg side to side, as if you were drawing a line on the wall behind you. Out and in. Keep that leg straight. Now we're gonna draw a vertical line on that wall behind us. Take that leg up and down. Small range, only as far as we can move with that back nice and still. Let's bring that knee in. We're gonna switch it up. Opposite leg stretches out behind us. Hover it a few inches up off the floor, and we'll take it side to side within the confines of what we can do from that hip without letting that pelvis go long for the ride. All right, take it back. Now we'll take that leg up and down. If you have tight hip flexors, the range of motion is going to be a bit limited. All right, we're going to hold that leg back behind the body. Let's stretch our opposite arm forward. Make a nice long diagonal reach. Switch it up, bring that hand down. Opposite arm comes forward. Switch it up. Stretch. Switch it up and reach. Hold it here. We're going to keep that same leg back behind us. What if we switch our arms? Shift away, come up onto the fingertips on that same side hand. Maybe we reach it in front. Let's keep that leg back and see what we can do as far as shifting to our other arms. Shift and reach, shift and reach, shift to the diagonal, take a breath here. And on that exhale, we're gonna bring both leg and arm down to all fours again, and we'll switch. We'll reach back, let's come up into our diagonal and hold it. Find that balance point. We can shift toward that bent knee, Maybe we lift that opposite arm up. Keep that leg lifted as we switch our arms. Keep it moving. There's quite a bit more weight shift if we're lifting up on that same side. That's okay. Last time lifting the same arm. Last time lifting that diagonal. Let's take our hands back to the floor. We'll bring our knees back down and let's do a few cats and cows. Belly to the floor, breastbone toward the wall in front. Curl it up the other direction, look toward those thighs. Release. Let's curl it up. Take it back to the middle. We're going to curl our hip toward our screen. That hip's going to come up toward the shoulder. Cross the opposite foot over that leg you're moving toward. We're going to grab that foot if you can. Give it a little gentle pull toward our shoulder. That should open up the opposite side of your waistline a bit. Hold here for a breath. And as we exhale, let's switch it up. Opposite side. Cross the other leg over. That hip comes toward the shoulder away from the screen. Grab onto that crossover foot and give it a gentle, gentle pull toward our shoulder. You should feel that waistline opening up on the side closest to your screen. Hold it there. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's take it right back to the middle. One more cat and cow. Curl it up. Reverse that curve. Take it right back to the middle. We'll bring our feet together and our knees apart. Let's lower the bottom down toward our heels and walk the hands toward the front of our mat. Maybe that forehead touches the floor. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. One more time, big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to come up and make our way into a sitting position with our legs lengthwise along that mat. We're going to try to get our weight right above our sit bones, the front of our sit bones, so we're up nice and vertically aligned. If the knees need to be bent to accommodate for tightness in the back of the thighs, that's absolutely fine. We're going to take our legs and open them up into a narrow V. My mat's pretty wide. If you're on a standard yoga mat, try to keep the width of your feet about to the width of the edges of your mat here. We could flex the feet or point the toes. Just keep them active, whatever you've chosen. And those arms are going to come up in line with our shoulders. Let's pull that belly down. We're going to hinge. We're going to bring those hands toward the wall in front of us. You'll feel a stretch through those thighs, and we'll come up nice and tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up. It's okay if your knees are bent. Hinge it forward. Take it up. One more time. Hinge it forward. We're going to hold it here. And we're going to breaststroke. We're going to keep that hinge. We're going to move those arms as if we're taking them along the top of the water. Let's breaststroke for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's come up nice and tall. Arms are going to be out to the side, slightly in front of our trunk, so those shoulder blades are sitting nice and comfortably along our rib cage. We're going to hold those arms right where they are. Again, bend those knees if you need to stay up vertical. Moving from that breastbone, we're going to rotate the body toward our screen and take it back to the center. Belly stays in. Rotate away from the screen and back to the center. Let's take it side to side. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Let's come right back to the middle. We'll take our arms down by our sides. Roll those shoulders back a few times. Drop them down. We're going to bring our knees together. Bend them up. We're going to stay resting on those heels. Hang on behind your thighs with those elbows soft, like you're holding a nice round beach ball. The belly draws back and away from those thighs. And let's inch our heels a bit closer to our bottoms. That'll give us a little bit of a diagonal angle, a little backward angle, which will challenge those abdominals a little more. You want to feel the front of your body versus your back. If you do feel your back, come up a little taller. We're going to take our leg farthest from the screen, keeping the hands right behind the thighs. Let's straighten and bend one knee, straighten and bend the other. If you'd like to be up on your toes, you are welcome to do it that way as well. Find your balance point there, and then we could challenge it a little further by taking those arms away from our thighs, or maybe even a little further by taking those arms up until the arms are parallel to your thighs. Walk those feet out. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feet come down. Let's draw those flat feet down to the floor, and we're going to take our hands to the outsides of our knees. Keeping that belly drawn in, press the hands and the knees toward each other. You're going to feel your outer hips working just a bit. We're going to open up the arm on that side closest to the screen. Feel that opposite side of your trunk working to keep you nice and still. Float that hand right back to the thigh. Press your hand and your thigh toward each other. Open that other arm. Take it back to the center. We're going to switch it side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take them back to the middle. We'll grab onto those shins. Let's pull ourselves up nice and tall. We can do a few seated cats and cows, rounding and reversing as you see fit. Find a range that's working for you. We'll come up nice and tall, roll those shoulders back. Let's take our hands to the mat behind us. We could have our fingertips facing our feet, or if those wrists feel compressed in that position, turn those hands out to the side. We're gonna press the heels of the hands down, squeeze those blades, keeping the elbows straight. We're gonna take that breastbone and reach it up to where the wall and ceiling meet in front of you. So your gaze is slightly upward on a little diagonal. Take a couple breaths here. As you inhale, you will feel your chest wall open up. As you exhale, some slack will come back into the system. We can hold here for our final 3 breaths before moving position, or we could lift that bottom up into a reverse tabletop, your choice. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time, big breath in. On that exhale, let's draw that bottom gently back toward the floor. Unweight those wrists, shake them out a bit, and we're gonna make our way up to kneeling facing that screen. If you do need a little more padding, feel free to put your towel roll or double your mat up to get a little more padding under those knees. We're gonna come up nice and tall, and the goal here is to get the head, the trunk, and those legs in line with each other. That may give you a little stretch through the front of your thighs, depending on how flexible your quads are. Squeeze your glutes, you might get a little more stretch through those hips. Let's take our arms up to the ceiling, big breath in, drop those shoulders as we exhale, and we're gonna take a few tall side bends. Reach a corner, and we'll come up and take it to the other side. Take it up and over, and we'll reach it up and over to the other side. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll take our hands to our hips, and we're gonna extend one leg out away from the body. Keep the whole foot on the floor if you can, and we're gonna lower the hip on the side of that straight leg. Stretch into that inner thigh just a bit. Let's hinge forward. We'll take the crown of the head toward our screen, bottom back. Feel the inner thigh open up a bit further. Take it up tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up. 2 more times here. Hinge. Bring it up tall. Last one, hinge. Take it up tall. Arms are gonna come out to the sides, moving from just above that belly button. We're gonna rotate that upper body toward that straight leg and rotate it toward the bent knee. Rotate and the other way. Last 2. Last 1. Rotate, rotate toward that bent knee. Let's come back to the center, breathe it in. On the exhale, we're gonna side bend and reach toward the ceiling. Let's take it up and over. Side bend and reach. Take it up and over. Last 2, side bend and reach. Reverse that side bend. One more time, side bend and reach. Take it up and over. Let's come back to our knees. Roll the shoulders back. We'll reset on the other side. Opposite leg stretches out. I'm gonna get myself a little more in the center of my mat. Foot stays flat on the floor. We'll drop that hip on that straight leg side. And from here, let's hinge. Upper body forward, tailbone back. Lengthen through that inner thigh. Let's take it up tall. Hinge. Take it up tall. 2 more here. Hinge. Bring it up. And last one. Let's hinge that body forward. Take it up tall. Arms out to the side. Let's rotate toward our straight leg. Rotate toward that bent knee. Notice the difference in how far you can rotate on one side versus the other. It's definitely normal to have some differences as we move from the straight leg to the bent leg side. Good. One more time to each side. Rotate toward that straight leg. Rotate toward that bent knee. Take it right back to the center. Breathing in. Exhale. Side bend. Reach. Reverse it up and over. Side bend and reach. Take it up and over. 2 more here. Home stretch, guys. Take it up and over. One last time. Side bend and reach. Take it up and over. Bring those arms down. Let's come back to kneeling, rolling those shoulders back. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's tip an ear to a shoulder. Hold it there for a breath. Breathe it out. Take that head up nice and tall. Big breath in. Exhale, side bend, ear to shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale. Take it back up to the top. We're going to make our way down to our side, bending up those knees in front and keeping those heels lined up with our bottom. All right, we're going to lift that waistline up from the floor. Take that top hand, press it into the mat, and those knees lift and lower for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, feet lift, and that top knee comes up and down again for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take those knees down. Fire hydrant lift. The whole top bent leg comes up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift up to hip height. We're going to circle that knee, moving from that hip for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reverse it. Take it the other way for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that top knee bent. We're going to straighten our bottom leg out. The top foot rests on that bottom knee. Take that top knee up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knee comes to hip height. Take that foot off of the bottom leg. Fire hydrant lift with that top knee. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out that top leg. We're going to pulse it to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes up. Let's bring them both up and down together. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Pull from that inner thigh. 2, 1. Bring them down. Bend up those knees. Pat that hip out. All right, let's make our way up and over to our other side. We'll reset those knees. Line your heels up with that bottom as we take that upper body down to our mat. We're going to press that top hand into the floor and lift those knees up and down for 4. Feet stay down, knees lift 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Lift those feet, hold them there. Top knee comes up and down. Lift and lower. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feet come down, fire hydrant lift. Whole top leg comes up and down. 4, 3. Keep the movement from the hip. And 1. Take it to hip height. We're going to circle from the hip, moving that knee. 2, 1. Circle it the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's straighten out that bottom leg. Top foot rests on that bottom knee. Top knee comes down and up. Lower and lift. Keep it going. Lower and lift. Take it to hip height. Top foot comes up. Fire hydrant lift on a straight bottom leg. 3, 2, 1. Bring it to hip height. Straighten out that leg. We're going to pulse it to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes up to meet it. Last 8 here. Keep that waistline nice and pulled in. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down, bend up those knees, pat that hip out. Great work. Let's roll to our backs. We're going to bend up those knees. Take our hands right to our belly. Let those upper arms rest into the floor. And then gently rock those knees side to side, keeping those shoulder blades resting on the mat. Take a few big breaths in and out. Bring those knees to the ceiling again. Let's cross one leg over the other. We could pull it up into that figure 4 stretch, getting into those hip rotators that we just worked. Take a big breath. As we exhale, unwind, cross that other one in. Maybe again, we pull that knee into the chest, breathing in. Exhale, let's unwind. Take those feet to the floor. We're going to turn over to hands and knees. Let's turn the tops of the toes under. We're going to bring our hands back toward our knees, press that weight toward our feet. Once the heels are down and we line ourselves up over the front of that ankle joint, we can make our way up to standing. Take your time here. Make sure you feel nice and steady before you stand up. We're going to take those feet, line them up hip width apart. Let's settle into those feet and roll those shoulders down. We're going to find something to hold on to if we need to, your wall, a sofa, a chair, whatever you got, and we're going to stand heel to toe. Let's balance in that narrow position, taking a big breath in. And a big breath out. If you want to take it further, you're welcome to close your eyes. Hold for a breath, whether those eyes are open or shut. We'll open them up if they've been closed, and let's switch. Let's take that other foot away. We'll step the opposite foot in front. Find that balance point. And again, close your eyes if you want to challenge it further. Even if your fingertips are resting on something for a little balance assist, it's amazing how much closing that eyes can do as far as making your feet do a little bit more extra work. All right, let's step those feet away. We're going to shift our weight to one side. Let's find a balance point. We're just going to hold in our single leg balance. Maybe we take that free knee up and down, bringing it up toward the chest. That's up to you. It just changes your center of balance just a little. Switch those legs, shift to the other side, lift up into that single leg balance. Again, make sure you have something to hold on to if you need it. And we could take that knee up and down toward the chest and away. Let's hold that balance for 3, for 2, and for 1. And let's take our feet down, shake those knees out a bit. We're going to keep those feet a little bit wider than our shoulders. Let's close with a big breath up. Take an inhale. Let's bring our palms up overhead, reach them together, fingertips to the ceiling. On the exhale, we'll bring our hands into our center and bring those feet together. Happy Friday, you guys. Thank you as always for joining me.